Hey, what's going on, guys? So today we got the second part of the 3.16 balance manifesto. This time it's going to be about defenses and recovery. And in this video I'm gonna give you a summary of all of the things that it said here, because it's, well, to be honest, pretty long, and in case you don't want to read it, I'm just gonna give you a summary. And I'm especially gonna be talking about evasion base characters, since, to be honest, most of the changes are towards this type of build, and I am also mainly playing ranger characters, so that's definitely something I am the most interested in. So let's start with Armour. So Armour actually didn't really get that many changes, but the changes that it got is actually very impactful. So basically, Armour is gonna be twice as effective. So previously, let's say you had 50k armor, you would get 50% evasion of the, not evasion, mitigation of the 5000 damage hit, so 2.5k instead of 5k. Now you will need only 25k. So basically Armour is twice as valuable as it used to be. So investing into Armour is gonna be much better. And at the same time, Determination Aura has also been buffed, and now it's gonna give flat armor as well as the more multiplier. Also, the new suffix modifier is giving flat 8% additional physical damage reduction. So if you're gonna stack this plus armor, you're gonna have a lot of physical damage mitigation on your build. So again, it's gonna be much more worth to invest into armor. Okay, now let's go into evasion. So the most important thing about evasion is that the dodge has been removed. So here it is. Remove dodge entirely and review certain powerful mechanics like blind. So that's actually a very big hit to evasion based characters, because to be honest, evasion based characters didn't really focus too much about the evasion, because evasion was pretty weak, and with just few powerful tools towards dodge, you would just be able to easily cap 75% of spell and attack dodge, like for example acrobatics, the boots, I believe Atziri boots, and the Raider Ascendancy, Valgrace, and so on. You would just easily get 75% dodge. So now dodge doesn't exist, so it's a big nerf for these types of build, especially for the early game when you don't have that much investment into your build. So we're gonna have to see how it's gonna look like without dodge. But to compensate that, the evasion actually got buffed, and it's pretty much the same as armor in a sense that it's twice as effective. So you used to need 49k evasion to get 75% chance to evade against tier 16 map monsters. Now you will need 24k. So it's pretty much twice as effective. So in return for losing dodge, now it is worth to go into evasion. But evasion items nowadays are not really that powerful, so they did buff some items and mods to give more evasion, and the Grace now gives a little bit more evasion. Also, the evasion, not like dodge, does not give you a chance to evade the spell hits. So dodge has two separate components. There is a dodge to attacks and dodge to spells. Evade, there is only evade. Evade only works for attacks. So to compensate for that, we got the new stat, which is spell suppression. So what it does is it gives a chance to halve a spell damage taken, and it can be stacked up to 100%. So if you stack the suppression to 100%, you're basically gonna be taking 50% less spell damage taken, which is very, very, very big. But again, it requires a lot of investment to get to 100%. And with dodge, that was pretty easy. And I expect that getting that 100% on spell suppression is not gonna be that easy. But we got some tools to help with that. So for example, there is a new keystone, Magebane, which will make it so you gain 1% chance to suppress spell damage per 15 dexterity. So if you're gonna be playing some kind of dexterity stacking build, you're not only gonna be investing into damage thanks to dexterity, but also into some defense. So evasion, not evasion, dexterity always gives just percentage of evasion per dexterity, but now it will also give you a chance to suppress spell damage. So dexterity stacking builds got a pretty good buff for their defense. Also Valgrace now, instead of giving you dodge, now gives you 15% chance to evade attacks. Which means if you, for example, have 75% chance to evade attacks, now you will have with Valgrace like 90%. So it's very, very good for builds that stack a lot of evasion. And also it gives suppressed spell damage dealt to you when it's unlucky, which to be honest is not that big, but it's some nice addition. Another big change is to Wind Dancer, which is to be honest pretty weird change. And now it gives less attack damage taken if you haven't been hit by an attack recently. So it's only for attacks, it used to be any hit. And more evasion rating and attack damage taken if you have been hit. So it's better for evasion characters that have a high evasion rating and bad for characters that are being hit a lot. So you used to take Wind Dancer or pretty much any ranger character, especially because you just had a dodge instead of evasion. So you would take less damage just overall because most of the attacks you would dodge, and if you didn't dodge you would take less damage. But now there is no dodge, so if you do not invest into evasion, just do not take Wind Dancer, just straight up. It's pretty bad. But if you invest in a lot into evasion, it could be pretty good. But to be honest, if you have a lot of evasion, you might just not want to have even more. So I don't know how it's gonna end up working out in the end. So we're gonna have to test it out. But it's definitely looking like a weird one, and for a lot of builds, it's looking like a pretty bad choice, especially early game. And acrobatics now actually gives you dodge instead of the suppression. So it's only way in the game right now to get the dodge, but it's only spell dodge, so there is no attack dodge. You will be getting spell dodge instead of spell suppression. So you still have to invest a lot of like gear and so on into spell suppression to get that dodge, and I just think it's, to be honest, not really gonna be that worth it. You would probably just prefer to have a 100% chance to suppress attacks instead of having like 50% spell dodge or maybe even a 75% spell dodge. It's just having that reliable defense, like all the time having 50% less damage taken is probably gonna be just better. And face acrobatics no longer exist, and they redesign a lot of like passive skills and so on to match these changes. Also here we have some changes to unique items for the armor and evasion. So some of them got nerfed, some of them got buffed. I'm not gonna read out all of them. To be honest, most of them don't really matter as much. The important change here is that the Raider is no longer giving 35% more chance to evade attacks and projectiles, but only 10% more chance to just evade during onslaught, which is pretty big nerf. But if you're gonna be investing a lot into the evasion, just getting that additional 10% on top is actually gonna be still pretty nice. So it is nerf, but it's still really, really good. And the armor character got, for the spell mitigation, got some passive points and so on for the maximum elemental resistances. So if you're gonna be on the armor side of the tree, you're gonna have a lot of armor and physical mitigation for physical damage, and for elemental damage you're gonna have maximum elemental resistances. And for evasion builds, you're gonna have evasion for attacks and spell suppression for spells. So now let's move on to the energy shield. So they buffed energy shield overall on the item, just basis, so by up to 20%. So most of the characters will just straight up get more energy shield, but they removed the veiled crafted modifier, the portion that gives quality to the item. So this mod is less powerful, and also they nerfed the energy from not crafted jewel. Instead of 100 energy shield, now it gives 60. So basically now you will have to invest more into just normal items that give energy shield instead of crafted jewel and veiled crafted modifiers. Next thing is that the base types now generate with random 0 to 10% higher base defense stat. So what that basically means is that now when you drop a base, let's say like a lion helmet, I don't remember how it's exactly called, lion pelt or something, normally it would like have as a base, let's say 400 evasion. Now it's gonna have 400 or 410 or 420, up to 10% of the base. So if you want like a perfect character, you will have to check for a lot of bases to find the base with the best generated outcome, and this outcome cannot be like divine orbed or anything. You will just have to look for the best bases. So it's a little bit of RNG added and a little bit of the power for these items. Also, the energy shield recharge has been buffed. So most of the energy shield builds just recover energy shield through leech and life regen, like energy shield regen, and now the recharge has been buffed by so now it's 33% instead of 20, and also Wicked Ward has been changed. Now it gives you 40% less recharge, but it will not give it no longer gives 50% less maximum total energy shield recovery from life leech and shield regeneration. So you can still go for leech and regen if you're going for Wicked Ward, which is pretty nice. And they also gave a lot of faster start of energy shield recharge on the items, which is pretty nice. And I do believe quite a lot of people now will go for a recharge instead of the other stuff. Also, they buffed some hybrid builds. So all of these stuff were just for the energy shield, armor, and evasion. Now let's talk about the hybrids. So for example, Ghost Dance. It used to be only for Trickster, so every 2 seconds you gain Ghost Shroud, which means that if you lose the Ghost Shroud, you recover energy shield equal to percentage of your evasion rating. So it used to be only for Trickster, and now it's gonna be available for everyone. So I'm actually wondering if there's gonna be some ranger builds like Toxic Rain or something that are gonna go for the hybrid energy shield evasion, especially since now you're not gonna go for the acrobatics, which used to reduce the amount of energy shield you have. So hybrid ranger builds are definitely something that's gonna be possible right now. And also they made a new archetype, not really new, but just buffed the archetype where you are hybrid with armor and energy shield. So now there's gonna be a new keystone, Divine Shield, which gives percentage of total physical damage prevented from hits is regenerated as energy shield per second. So basically it's kinda like Ghost Shroud, but instead of regenerating energy shield thanks to evasion, here you are regenerating energy shield thanks to armor. And here are some other like small changes, I would say. So life regeneration overall has been buffed on items, but it has been nerfed for very powerful characters that stacked a lot of life regeneration. So for example, if you were using endurance charges to stack life regen. So overall, life regeneration is gonna feel better for more characters overall, but it's not gonna be as good for characters that were stacking a lot of it. Next thing is block. So versatile combatant, which was the keystone for the gladiator, now is available for everyone, but it is nerfed. So now it will give you 25% reduced maximum chance to block attack damage and spell damage, but 2% chance to, you gain 2% chance to block spell damage for each 1% overcap chance to block attack. So if you get like 75% chance to dodge attack, not dodge, block attack damage, you will have 50% chance to block attack and spell damage, which is pretty decent for like a starting character that are gonna just invest a little bit into block. But overall getting 50% is not really that powerful in my opinion, and I don't believe that many builds will go for it. But still, block overall is gonna be more available. Even if you're not going for this, they gave some new and buffed some modifiers that give you spell and attack block. So block has been buffed for a character that didn't have the block availability before. Next is blind. So blind used to be actually very powerful if you were evasion and dodge based character, because it just straight up gave you a lot of chance to avoid attacks because it reduces the accuracy of the monsters. So now it will give 20% less accuracy. I think it used to give 50, so it's much less, but it will stack. So not stack, it will, you will be able to invest into it. So the same as energy shield, no, as evasion and spell suppression, you will be able to invest into blind to make it more powerful. So you can still make it like 50% probably if you invest a lot into it. And the last change is to Fortify. So Fortify, now the effect of Fortify is based on the melee damage dealt. So if you are a melee build and you're dealing a lot of damage, you will get big Fortify buffs. But if you are like a spellcaster and you are proccing Fortify just by using shield charge or something, you're not gonna get that big of a Fortify, and it's probably not gonna be even worth to go for it. So overall, Fortify, big nerf for caster and maybe a buff for melee characters. I guess we're gonna have to see the numbers. Okay, to sum things up, before you used to just invest everything into just damage because it just wasn't worth to invest that much into, like armor, evasion. Well, energy shield was pretty worth, but armor and evasion were in pretty bad spot, and you would just, especially for softcore, you would just not invest into it. You would just prefer to invest into damage. And you were just using very powerful mechanic that doesn't really need that much investment, like acrobatics, blind, fortify, wind dancer. And now it will actually, I believe, feel worth to invest into these defenses. So things like evasion and armor with the double the effectiveness, it actually probably will gonna feel worth it, especially for the ranger. Investing into evasion, spell suppression and blind might actually make you like almost invulnerable to all damage. Like if you're gonna have like 90% evasion with Val Grace and 100% chance to suppress and pretty good blind, you're gonna take like almost no damage. So it might actually feel worth to invest into these things, not only to damage. And also the nice thing is that when I was playing the Ranger, my Toxic Drain build, it used to feel weird when people were asking me, like when they were dying, what things they should improve, like what kind of things they should invest in. And to be honest, there was just no answer. You would just take the few important things, again, like acrobatics, blind, wind dancer, and that's it. And there was just no possible investment. And now I will actually have things to recommend to do. You just, again, invest into evasion, invest into spell suppression, invest into the blind. But again, I am a little bit scary about these changes because there is no dodge. So very early on in the league, we used to have this powerful defense mechanic, and now you only have a powerful evasion with investment. It's gonna be easier to invest into evasion and armor and so on, but you're just not gonna have a really good baseline defense. So I guess it's pretty scary, and we're gonna have to see how it's gonna work out. But the top end defense should feel better, at least. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.